Hey guys, this is Eddie, and it's been a long time I haven't talked about my current setup. Recently, I've been asked to do a 40 minutes long performance using modular stuff and dotlet stuff. So it forced me and requires me to stick to one setup for a long time and deep dive into what I can achieve in a single current setup. Well, it's obvious that I did a huge update on my modular systems compared to the last video I did. I switched from 84 HP 6U rack into a 104 HP 7U rack, and it's almost full. So all those gear I'm using in this videos are the Syntakt, which is mostly the drum machine and doing other percussion stuff, and some percussive sound, like the stab, like some plucky sound. And MPC One is mainly the mixer and the sequencer for my Eurorack system. And my Eurorack system consists of two mono voice and a plinky, which I will talk about later about what it's using. And moreover, what's important is to maximize the function of the MPC One. I am using the Atura Mini Fuse 4 as kind of a mixer, and it's still audio interface still, but kind of like a mixer that I can process my Syntakt and my motor signal separately in my MPC. So let's see what we can get here. So first, in the Syntakt part, is mainly a drum machine. So let's hear what I have. So I'm doing 3-track layering a kick from the rumble to a high frequency sound and a main kick. I also have an alternative kick, hi-hat, some claps and snares, and a percussive sound I love really much. It's a stereo sound, 2 channels combined together, and a step and lead, and a plucky percussive sound. So it's just a nice drum machine. I'm not doing a lot in my Syntakt because I don't want to make things so complicated. I made all my sequence stick into 16 steps, so I can change them if I want. Depends on how much I want to build it, and sometimes I can use the Euclidean sequencer. For example, the clock. Quickly switch between a normal pattern and a Euclidean pattern, which can build more. And talking about my modular system, there's lots of upgrade here, but mainly are from the ST modular. The first one is the Hands, which is a stereo mixer, a stereo filter, stereo low pass filter. It has a pretty warm cutoff and a built-in LFO and another CV with attenuator. I use it mainly for the plinky, and I will show you how I set up my plinky with the Hands to make it more sensitive to how I play the plinky. And beside, next to it is the Metrical, which is a 3x3 metric mixer. I'm using it as a main modulation integrating source that I can have some of my multiple modulation source, CV source, like from the slopes, from some LFOs or something else inside, and then separately making it output. And you can control the amount of CV you want to output by tweaking those attenuators. It makes stuff pretty. You can make some pretty complex modulation, like combining 2 slopes or an LFO and ADSR and a slope, and depends on how much you integrate them, how much you want them blend in, the percentage they're blending in. You can make some pretty interesting but complex stuff. Next to it is the Sum 2, which is a nice performance mixer. It has 5 mono channel and 1 stereo channel. I'm using the stereo channel for the plinky because it already has some built-in stereo effects. And for the other channels, they're all monos, and I can have them sent to my Send A and Send B, which I love the most because I can switch between 2 effects if I want just by tweaking the switch and knobs. It's easy to use. And talking about the sound effect, I'm using the Eurorack Synth Black Hole DSP2 and the Antrobra Smog, which is a minimal instrument Clouds clone. I chose the Black Hole DSP is because it has a large knob, which is just perfect to tweak for me, and I really like the cross one and cross CV. It gives more details and interesting effects like the broken synth sound for my synths, and it's like a constant effect here no matter which patch you change. And there's 24 patch inside. I really like the delay one and also the 6 one, which has the third parameter is kind of like a riser here, which can add some more noise and build up here. And for the smog, I'm mostly using the Parasite firmware, the looping delay, because it's sound the most controllable and useful here with some reverb. We can listen to this later. And my Rising Storm bundle is still here from the BOC to SED. Is still a nice synth voice comparing to some other product. Analog sound is just solid. I love the sound. And the Doper one is still here. The slope is something I bought recently. It's a 4-channel function generator, which can serve as 4 separate function generator. But if you plug a gate inside, but if you just want to make it simple, you can get a clock here, syncing it, and there's an internal built-in clock divider, which makes the 4s of them in a different rate. I think one is the time is divided by 2, divided by 4, and divided by 8, divided by 16. It's just a different rate. So you can have some pretty synced short slopes and some pretty long and LFO-like stuff here. And the pump pro works out. No need to explain how wonderful and how powerful this motor is in just 8 HPs. It just acts as a brain if I'm not using any external gears with my motor system, and it can handle almost everything I need in the system that MPC does if I'm not taking MPC with me. And talking about a Plinky, why I got a Plinky here? First is because it has a nice pressure-sensitive keyboard. Have to admit that the small keyboard is hard to play precisely. It's always you can easily just touch the wrong note, but the pressure sensitive is interesting. I'm always doing some in a techno set in specific, I'm always doing some harmonic here because it have 8 voice polyphony. And with the hands, I can have the pressure output into the CV input here, so I can control the cutoff of hands by the pressure of Plinky. And also hands has a nice LFO inside. We can make some more dynamic stuff for the Plinky. And most importantly, the MPC One, thankfully I update their MPC 3 3.6 system, and especially the Pro packs. So as you see, I'm using the clip matrix to do all those sequencing stuff for my Eurorack system. It's just making things much more easier because I can switch between everything faster, and it's just a clear way to show everything you have, and you can trigger them in a row or just separately, or you can just mute them. It's much more easier than using a Syntakt, because if you're switching a patterns, sometimes it can lead to some change, just significant change in sound, because you might tweak so much in the previous pattern. It solves the problems a lot, and I think I will stick to the clip matrix for a long time doing all those sequencing stuff. And as I mentioned before earlier in the video, I'm using the Minifuse 4 as kind of a mixer here. So I have my Syntakt going to the first channel, which is input 1 and 2, and my auto modules goes into the second one, which is the input 3 and 4. By using this, I can do effects like the mother Docker in the Syntakt and a Docker in the modules. So what I can do here is, for example, a drone sound here in Plinky. And easily you can achieve a nice ducking drone here, or a bass, some noisy sound, but it's stuck. So you can see that I'm using no MIDI input or CV input for the Plinky. I left it just blank in all those input parts so I can play it whatever I want. It's quantized to the scale I set in MPC and Syntakt in this setup, now currently the harmonic minor. So no matter what you play, it will stick in the style and make some nice noisy sound. So let's listen a little bit about how it sounds now. First channels, the bass sound goes to the Black Hole DSP. So that's a simple patch I could get easily after sticking to this setup for almost 2 weeks. So I'm getting used to every single shortcut or ideas I can use. But there are still some drawbacks now because first I'm using the interface as a mixer, which means I have no interface left for my computer. So to record something else. For example, like in this video, I cannot record everything into my laptop internally, which makes everything sound pretty noisy and crunchy here using my iPhone speaker and microphone. And also it's hard to switch between the USB from here and to my computer when I'm using something else. I need to like plug them and unplug them frequently, which I'm not that found into. So for my next step, I probably will get something like the Zoom L6, which is a nice mixer with USB output. If it works with the MPC One, internally, it can just read how much channels are they and make everything goes in separately. I might change to a nice USB multi-channel mixer, which can also expand my setup. For example, I have an S1, which I really want to use because it adds some other polyphonic stuff, which these stuff cannot access to. With another mixer, Euro mixer, I may be easier to do those stuff. And also what I really want to get is a MIDI controller, both for the MPC One Plus and for the Syntakt, because all of them needs pretty much a deep dive in the menu to achieve some of the parameters. The MPC One is easier because you can assign some of those parameters you want to use into these 4 queuing buttons. If you switch the preset from screen into the Project 2 or Project 1, which is MP1, you can have 16 encoders here. I did a jam before using these knobs to control some master effect like the filter for the Syntakt and for the modules. It serves very well. But for the Syntakt, I really want some nice external controllers so I can control the sound, for example, the decay of the hi-hat, the drum filter, the kick filters, or the others like some of the reverb or delay. And there's also a master, the FX filter and overdrive parameters, which I really want to tweak when I'm doing performance, but still I'm not having any nice MIDI controller now, so I was just using the deep menus. But still, Syntakt is a nice device for drum. And for the modules later, the Plinky might be the first thing I really want for a long time is a joystick, because I think I can make some more hands-on control and dynamics for my patch, even for some transition or some weird experimental sound. I'm considering the Doper one and also the Erica Synth black joystick too. And for maybe some other nice effect, like some motor effect like MFX or maybe the Milky Way from Endorphins. I really want a Ghost for a long time but since I bought a performance mixer, which only has something sand effect, Ghost isn't that portable and versatile. And also the Rampo. If one day I'm not gonna using the Syntakt and only doing everything in my modular system, I might need a drum machine, and Rampo is one of my best choice now. But still, I want the analog kick, because kick is just so crucial for a techno set. You want it to be solid, you want it to be powerful, you want to hear how much it could hit the monitor, hit the speaker. And that's probably all I wish to get in the future, like recently in these months. But we'll see soon if I update any video, maybe next year, maybe in December. Let's see what I can get from an upgrade. So thanks for your support if you listen to everything till now, and please subscribe my channel. I will upload some other techno or even some ambient patch on YouTube, and also please subscribe my channel. Thanks for your support.